Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome to the channel. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're about to get straight into this video. How every cartel boss died. Man, let's do it. All right, man. Um, it's crazy. Sir, I can tell, like, being in these gangs, bro. I think the goal is to just live life to the fullest to, you know, uh but I don't think there's like an end goal of happily ever after again with these types of games. But I really don't. I think everybody trying to go out like Tony Montana. I swear, I think that's the goal. Go out like Tony Montana, cause you can't live a long luxury life doing this. Uh, but yeah, let's see what's going on. How every cartel boss died. Man.
Antonio Ezequiel Cardenas Guillen, known as Tony Tormenta, had taken over leadership of the Gulf Cartel after his brother Ociel was arrested. But at the same time, Los Zetas, once the cartel's armed wing, had broken away and turned into its deadliest enemy. Tony commanded his own private army called Los Escorpiones, a squad made up of ex-police officers trained in heavy weapons and brutal tactics.
Oh, man. Yo, the cartel is different, bro. Ex-police officers. I heard the cartel got police officers on payroll. Man, it's ridiculous out there. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous.
So brutal that he caught the attention of the Mexican Marines. For months, they tracked him across Tamaulipas, nearly catching him several times. But each time he escaped, protected by convoys of gunmen and armored vehicles.
Wow.
By late 2010, however, the government made his capture a top priority, and Matamoros, his home city and stronghold, became the main battlefield. On the morning of November 5th, 2010, more than 660 Marines, backed by helicopters and armored vehicles, surrounded downtown Matamoros. Roadblocks went up, cell service was cut, and power went out in parts of the city. For hours, residents hid in fear as gunmen fought openly in the streets. Gulf Cartel sicarios hijacked buses to block military convoys. Snipers fired from rooftops, and over 300 grenades exploded during the clashes. By the afternoon, the Marines had located Tony in a downtown building. Helicopters fired from above, and the military pushed through. As they got in, they eliminated Tony and several of his bodyguards. Across Tamaulipas and beyond, new roadblocks, grenade attacks, and shootouts erupted as news of his death spread. Los Zetas celebrated, hanging banners mocking the Gulf Cartel and inviting Tony's men to switch sides. El Mexicano. By 1989,
Man, you telling me they had a whole war behind this man? That shit's crazy, bro. Like, boy, these folks here are different, man. They different, man.
Gonzalo Rodriguez.
A whole war behind this dude by this gang.
Gacha, also known as El Mexicano, was one of the most feared leaders of the Medellin cartel. But by then, he had gone to war with almost everyone: the Colombian government, the DEA, the Cali cartel, FARC guerrillas, and even old allies in the emerald trade. His empire was falling apart, and his enemies had started working together to bring him down. The final hunt began when a police informant, secretly working for the Cali cartel, revealed his location. The police traced him to Cartagena, but he slipped away by boat to Tolu with his son Freddy and several others. Unfortunately for him, one of them was the same informant still passing information to the authorities. On December 15, 1989, two military helicopters carrying elite police units launched the attack. And at first, Gacha and his men tried to hide by dressing as farm workers. But when helicopters circled overhead, they ran to a red truck and attempted to escape. A running gunfight followed across the countryside, until, near a group of trees, some of his bodyguards and his son Freddy exchanged fire with police and were killed. Gacha, with one bodyguard left, kept fleeing in the truck until they abandoned it and tried to escape on foot through a banana plantation. Cornered and wounded, Gacha fired at a helicopter with a German submachine gun. His shots gave away his position, and the police answered with bursts of machine gun fire from above. A bullet struck him in the leg, bringing him down, and moments later another hit him in the face, killing him. 2 days later, on December 17th, thousands of people gathered in his hometown of Pacho for his funeral. Estimates put the crowd as high as 15,000.
For his funeral? 15,000 people behind that man. Man, I be looking at gangs in America and I be understanding like it's a big problem. You know what I'm saying? It's a big problem because it's like it really what I see ain't nothing but violence, bro. Keep it real. Ain't nothing but violence, bro. But when I see this type of stuff, I be like, damn, I don't think it just don't even compare. I'm talking about this military versus military.
Pacho Herrera. In 1996, Helmer Herrera, one of the 4 leaders of the Cali cartel known as Pacho, surrendered to Colombian authorities after the other Cali bosses had been arrested. Unlike the Rodriguez Orejuela brothers, he operated more in the shadows, rarely appearing in public, and almost never being mentioned by name. But this didn't prevent him from having enemies, even while in prison. Herrera and the whole Cali cartel had long been in conflict with the Norte del Valle cartel, a powerful offshoot of Cali, and rumors spread that Herrera had betrayed their leader, Orlando Henao, by giving information to the DEA. On November 6, 1998, during a football match inside the prison, Rafael Angel Uribe Serna entered the field. Uribe was not a stranger. He had been close to Herrera for years and even worked as an advisor. Herrera reportedly stopped the game and went to greet him. They hugged, and at that moment, Uribe suddenly pulled out a gun and shot Herrera 7 times in the head.
Wow.
Other inmates caught him, and guards took him away, but Herrera died soon after in the hospital. Uribe later claimed Herrera had threatened his family after he failed to kill an emerald tycoon on Herrera's orders, but investigators doubted this. Many believed Uribe was acting under orders from the Norte del Valle cartel themselves. Arturo Beltran Leiva. Marcos Arturo.
So you was in prison and you got shot?
Beltran Leiva, once called El Jefe de Jefes, or the Boss of Bosses, by his gunmen, had risen inside the Sinaloa cartel with his brothers by running security and drug routes for El Chapo. But after his brother Alfredo was arrested in 2008, the Beltran Leiva clan blamed El Chapo for betraying them. They broke away, formed their own cartel, and allied with Los Zetas, which were enemies of El Chapo, turning Mexico into a battlefield between former partners. Arturo led with brutality, filling the country with assassins, bribing officials, and spreading terror. So by late 2009, the Mexican government had made him one of its top targets. On December 11th, Arturo threw a lavish Christmas party at a mansion in Cuernavaca, but Mexican Navy Special Forces raided the house, sparking a firefight that killed 3 of his men and a neighbor. Arturo escaped, but 5 days later, intelligence led the Navy to another luxury apartment where Arturo was hiding. This time, they came with a crazy amount of force. Around 200 Marines, backed by tanks and helicopters, surrounded the building.
Got the Marines, man. You got 12 stars on GTA, bro. God damn. I'm talking about, like I said, bro, I look at games over here, then I look at games over there. These folks over here bribing officials, politicians, got ex-police officers, current police officers, got current people in the military. I be like, bro, what the hell, man? And this is like, I feel like they all know this is gonna be the end goal, though. That's crazy, man. They all know it's gonna end like this, bro. And I don't think they mind, bro.
Minute gun battle followed. Arturo's men hurled grenades to hold them off, but Marines repelled from helicopters and stormed the building.
Fam! Bro, these dudes just said Arturo's men threw a bunch of grenades. How do you let these folks get grenades, man? That shit's crazy.
When it was over, Arturo and 3 of his men were dead. The aftermath was bloody. Days later, gunmen assassinated family members of Melquisede Angulo Cordova, the Marine killed in the raid, murdering his mother and relatives after his funeral. Then, a banner left at a kindergarten warned of more reprisals. El Señor de los Cielos. On July 4th, 1997, Amado Carrillo Fuentes, known as El Señor de los Cielos, or Lord of the Skies, for the huge fleet of jets he used to move cocaine, entered a private hospital in Mexico City to change his face, and you'll soon understand why. By then, he was the most powerful drug lord in Mexico, head of the Juarez cartel, and worth an estimated $25 billion, but pressure against him was growing. Both U.S. and Mexican authorities were closing in, and ordinary Mexicans had started protesting the politicians that allowed traffickers like him to operate. Carrillo, while on the run, believed surgery could buy him time. At Santa Monica Hospital, he underwent major plastic surgery on his face, along with lipo.
This nigga bought a new face, man. This nigga bought a new face. What the fuck? Hey, man, that's why I say, bro, man, I used to look through politics, bro. When y'all be supporting certain politicians, bro, I'm telling you, Democrat and Republic, bro, both sides. Bro, it's corrupt people on both of them sides, bro. doing the same shit. I'm talking about over here. I already know it, bro. Bro, they be allowing a whole lot of stuff, be in cahoots with these folks doing this type of stuff. Be just get some money. Hey, you tell these people I'm doing this and tell these people I'm a good person, I'm gonna give you this. Or stuff like that, bro. Like, man, politicians be in the mix, man, and they never get held accountable. Let me stop. Let's go.
Suction to change his appearance, but the operation didn't go as expected. Whether from a bad reaction to medication or a broken respirator, complications set in, and in the early hours of July 5th, Amado Carrillo Fuentes was dead.
That was a setup. That was a setup right now.
Powerful drug trafficker in Mexico had not died in a gun battle or an ambush, but on an operating table. Rumors spread quickly, with many insisting Carrillo had faked his death to escape justice. The government was forced to publicly display his body to silence the speculation.
Wow.
Months later, the two surgeons who had performed the operation were found murdered. The Juarez Cartel...
What I tell you? But these folks don't play no games, man. That's just crazy. These folks don't play no games. Even if it wasn't their fault, it don't matter. So I wouldn't have did surgery on this man or nothing, man. I told him, man, we don't know how to do that shit. Oh, man.
Fell into chaos almost immediately, and a bloody fight for control of what Carrillo had left behind started. Ramon Arellano Felix. Being one of the leaders of the Tijuana cartel and being known as the cartel's enforcer, Ramon had built a reputation as one of the most ruthless traffickers in Mexico. He personally ordered massacres, including the 1998 slaughter of 19 members of the Castro Ramirez family. Brutal acts like this made him stand out, which is why by the late 1990s, Ramon was high on Mexico's most wanted lists. In 1997, he was added to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives, charged with importing cocaine and marijuana into the United States. Later, under the Kingpin Act, his U.S. assets were frozen, and American citizens were banned from doing business with him. Still, Ramon continued to operate in Mexico, but on February 10, 2002, while he was driving in Mazatlan, a Mexican police officer, Angel Antonio Arias Torres, pulled him over for a traffic violation. What seemed like a routine stop exploded into violence. Ramon pulled a gun and shot the officer twice in the chest, mortally wounding him. Even as he collapsed, Arias Torres managed to fire back, hitting Ramon in the head and killing him instantly. Both men died in the exchange. Some accounts, however, say that the stop was not an accident. According to these stories, Joaquin Guzman, known as El Chapo, set up the ambush to remove one of his most dangerous rivals. If that's true, he succeeded, since Ramon's death marked the beginning of the end for the Tijuana cartel. Just weeks later, his brother Benjamin was arrested, and within a few years, most of the Arellano Felix brothers were either captured or dead. Francisco Rafael Arellano Felix. On October 18, 2013, Francisco Rafael, the oldest of the brothers who once controlled the Tijuana cartel, was celebrating his 64th birthday in Los Cabos, and around 80...
Well, your ass made it to 64. Congratulations. 64? Shit.
To 100 guests, including politicians, businessmen, athletes, and other VIPs, went to the party. By then, he had been out of cartel leadership for years, after getting arrested in 1993 and released in 2008. Just after 8 p.m., a man dressed as a clown walked in, and he blended in long enough to get close. When he was only 3 feet away, he pulled out a pistol and shot Francisco Rafael in the head and chest. As he fell to the floor, the gunman fired more shots before escaping through a back door to a black SUV waiting outside. Guests panicked, running for cover under tables or fleeing into the night. The motive was never fully clear. Authorities suggested it may have been revenge over old debts or rivalries, possibly tied to the Sinaloa cartel or the Beltran-Leyva cartel. Some believed he had angered El Chapo by tipping off authorities about his presence in Los Cabos the year before. What made the case even more mysterious was that security at the party was unusually low, and many guests left before police could question them, leaving little evidence. El Lasca. Heriberto Lascano was a former soldier who defected from the Mexican army and helped create Los Zetas, the armed wing of the Gulf Cartel that later broke away and became one of the most violent criminal groups in the country, as we mentioned in Tony Tormenta's section. By the late 2000s, he was one of Mexico's most wanted men, so much so that the U.S. government offered a $5 million reward for him, while Mexico added another $2 million. His end came on October 7, 2012, when, acting on a civilian tip about armed men at a baseball game, Mexican Marines moved in. Lascano and a bodyguard opened fire from a white van, starting a shootout that killed both of them and one Marine. Fingerprint tests confirmed the dead man was Lezcano, making him the most powerful cartel boss killed since Mexico's drug war began in 2006. But the story didn't end there. His body was taken to a funeral home in Sabinas, Coahuila, and before officials could make the news public, a convoy of masked gunmen stormed the building, overpowered staff, and stole Lezcano's corpse. That's because in the Zetas' paramilitary culture, no man was to be left behind. His body has never been recovered. Lezcano's death cleared the way for Miguel Trevino to become the uncontested leader of Los Zetas, though he was captured less than a year later in 2013. This created an opening for rivals like El Chapo and the Sinaloa Cartel, who could now more easily expand into
But this dude, El Chapo, is this like the last man standing or something? Like, what's going on, fam? Is he just avoids everything and just slide by and take out every damn body? What's going on? What, man? That's crazy, man.
Territory. Griselda Blanco Restrepo.
I've heard. Man, you know, it'd be a lot of rappers talking about this woman. So let's see what she done did.
And into Zetas territory. Griselda Blanco Restrepo, known as the godmother of cocaine, was one of the most central figures in the violent Miami drug wars of the 1970s and 1980s. From an early age, she was involved in crime. Stories claim that as a child, she kidnapped and even killed, and by her teenage years, she was already committing theft and fraud before moving into drug trafficking. At its peak, her empire was said to bring in $80 million a month, but
oh my God, man. I forgot to tell y'all, bro. There is, like, I think the cartel, right? The cartel, they smuggle stuff through the border, right? Man, I'm telling you, they do all type of drug trafficking. I'm talking about on the border. Y'all know about that border, the ICE situation. Y'all do know these folks get paid from people that's illegal, get paid from people that's from politicians that's drug trafficking, get paid from NGOs, non-governmental organizations. Oh yeah, I'm cut like that. Yeah. I know what the hell I'm talking about, bro. Yeah. When I tell you it's like an estimate, they make like 10 billion a day. I said, man, people be talking about money, bro. These folks live for that high of just having the most money and the most lavish lifestyle of all time. It's crazy.
Blanco was remembered more for her violence. She ordered hundreds of killings, including public massacres, and she was credited with popularizing motorcycle drive-by shootings that became a cartel trademark. Not even her family was safe, as she allegedly ordered the murder of her first husband, personally shot her second husband Alberto Bravo during an argument, and had her third husband killed after a custody dispute over their son, Michael Corleone Blanco, whom she had named after the character from The Godfather. In 1985, she was arrested in California by the DEA and released early in 2004 for health reasons.
Somebody got paid. Bro, politicians over here so goddamn corrupt. Y'all just heard all that shit she done did, talking about she done got out early for health complications. Bull, that's bull. Somebody got paid. A couple people, quite a few people probably done got paid. Y'all see how much she worth. Money talk.
And deported back to
Colombia. I know somebody got paid for that.
In her later years, she was said to have turned to religion and lived as a born-again Christian. But on September 3rd, 2012, at the age of 69, while she was leaving a butcher shop in Medellin, a man on a motorcycle shot her twice in the head. She was basically killed in the same style of assassination she had once popularized in Miami. El Chepe. On January 11th, 1996, El Chepe, whose real name was Jose Santa Cruz Londoño, had escaped from the La Picota prison in Bogota. He was one of the founding leaders of the Cali Cartel, and unlike the Medellin Cartel under Pablo Escobar, which fought openly with bombings and assassinations, Cali used a quieter approach with corruption and bribery. This seemed to work, since at its peak, the cartel supplied up to 80% of the cocaine in the world. But after Escobar's death in 1993, all eyes turned to Cali. This was made worse by the bloody war with the Norte del Valle cartel that we previously mentioned. Its leaders, together with paramilitary commander Carlos Castaño and corrupt police colonel Danilo Gonzalez, agreed that Chepe had to die. They arranged an ambush disguised as a police checkpoint, and El Chepe was shot dead on the spot. Nacho. Ignacio Coronel Villarreal, also known as Nacho Coronel, or the King of Crystal, for his domination of methamphetamine production and trafficking, was one of the most wanted men by the US and Mexican government by the early 2000s. He rose to power in the 1980s with the Juarez cartel under Amado Carrillo Fuentes, but after his death, he helped strengthen the Sinaloa cartel alongside El Chapo. His niece, Emma Coronel Aispuro, later became widely known as the wife of El Chapo, but he's mostly known for his 2010 retaliation, when, after his young son Alejandro was kidnapped and murdered by gunmen linked to Los Zetas, he sent more than 100 men to kill 14 people only days later. On July 29, 2010, Mexican soldiers tracked him to a luxury home in Zapopan. When troops stormed the property, he resisted. In the firefight, he killed one soldier and wounded another before being fatally shot in the head.
What I tell you, every last one of them, they finna just go out like Scarface. Straight up. Every last one of them. That's like the end goal. Go out like Scarface.
Inside the house, soldiers seized jewelry,
Shit, I ain't gonna lie, shit. If they living all the way to 65, 64, 65 years old, shit. Man, you lived a good life, shit. I mean, you lived a terrible demonic life. I ain't gonna say that. But it's like, as far as luxury, you got it. You won. 65, shoot. You tell them folks they done been poor as hell, growing up poor as hell. You know what? You can live till you about 80, regular, or you can live about 65, doing stuff like this. I'm pretty sure a lot of them probably chooses 65.
3 watches, rifles, grenades, 3 vehicles, and about $7 million in cash.
Damn.
Pablo Escobar. It was the afternoon of December 2nd, 1993, and Pablo Escobar was hiding in a modest house in a Medellin neighborhood. For more than a year, he had been on the run after escaping from his private prison, La Catedral, where he had lived in comfort and continued his criminal operations even while locked up. The Colombian government, with support from the United States, had been hunting him nonstop, and his rivals in the Cali cartel also wanted him dead. His actions brought even more attention towards him, like when he bombed Avianca Flight 203 in an attempt to kill a presidential candidate, Cesar Gaviria, but instead killed more than 100 innocent people.
Fam, what? Bro, this man ordered the bombing of a plane or a pilot or whatever. Killed 100 people. Trying to get a politician up out of here.
Colombian special forces, using U.S. technology that tracked a phone call he made to his family, found him in Medellin. As police closed in, Escobar tried to escape across the rooftops with his bodyguard, but a gunfight broke out. Bullets hit him in the torso and legs, but the shot that finished it struck his head. Some believe the police fired it, while others think Escobar shot himself. His death marked the fall of the Medellin cartel, and more than 25,000 people attended his funeral. If you liked this video, subscribe for similar ones or join my Discord to...
Wow, that was crazy, man. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to the channel. That was my reaction to how every cartel boss died. I hope y'all like my commentary on it. If you don't, whatever. I don't give a damn. We're about to get up out of here. Yes, sir. Let's go.